Good evening and welcome to beautiful Lake Erie Speedway in Northeast Pennsylvania. It is a beautiful evening here at the track. If you're joining us here, thanks for making your way out to the Speedway to support the Great Lakes ProAm Series. If you're joining us on the live, thank you for joining us from home. It is going to be a lot of fun. We got a new layout. We got some new faces in the competition. We got some guys that have been partaking in the competition that have won their pro licenses elsewhere that we won't be seeing here in round number 3 of the Great Lakes ProAm presented by Moty's. I'm Ben Bruno, joined in the booth by Brian O'Connor. Brian, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, Ben. It's a beautiful day here, sunny and 75. You know, I think we're going to have some great driving tonight. Layout's super sweet. I think it's going to be really good for close tandems, nice and tight, and excited to see it all go down. Happy to be up here with you, Ben.
So you can see we're taking a look on the live stream right now at the starting grid. A little bit of a different look here this weekend, as I had mentioned. Going to be starting down there in turn number 3, coming out of grid with a shorter run-up than what we've really seen so far in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. So a little bit of something different for these guys to get their hands on and conquer here this weekend in round number 3 into our first outside zone. But we'll take a look at the track here in just a little bit as we get a little shot of the zones and the decel zones and all that good stuff so everybody can see it. So if you're joining us on the live stream at home, let us know where you're watching from and who you're rooting for to win here in round number 3 of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. So we're getting a beautiful pan across the track here. You can see coming out of outside zone number 1 into outside zone number 2 there on the backstretch wall. And then that comes all the way down to the yellow tires into outside zone number 3 against the Jersey barriers here. And again, not to forget, the zone is not out against the Jersey barrier. It is actually a foot or two off of it and then into outside zone number 4. So no inside clips here for round number 3 this weekend, Brian.
Yep, so it looks like we've got 21 drivers registered approximately. Not sure if they will all be competing today. We'll kind of find out as we go. We've got it here in qualifying order. We're actually going to start off with Alan Boss and Kevin Ferraro. Alan Boss is going to be driving a Nissan 350Z with a LS9. He's driving with the Yeet Fleet. These guys, you know, they come out here and they absolutely kill it. One of them, I know one of the Yeet Fleet guys just got a big stacker out there. I'm not sure if it's Alan or Kisa Rodriguez, but absolutely insane trailer. I mean, the whole setup is just wicked. They always come out here with, you know, these heavy setups. So, you know, going to be really cool to see him and Kevin go at it. But before we get to that, we're going to bring them all out here. We're going to check out all these sweet cars. Like we've been talking about, Ben, a lot of diversity out here on the track. We've got all different kinds of cars. We've got some LSs. We got some, you know, 1JZs. We've got some Coyotes. So it's really all over the place, you know, lots of cool motor swaps, lots of sweet cars. I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely. No shortage of horsepower if you look along the grid of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. You know, as you had mentioned, not to get ahead of ourselves here, but Alan Boss is going to be the first one that we'll see. He's got a ton of power under the hood, V8 power. It's LS under the hood of that car, LS9 to be exact. So going to be a lot of fun here this weekend, and not to mention that a lot of these guys, I mean, they're competing in basically every competition series on this side of the coast too. So no shortage of talent here in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series, and these guys go out there to those other competition series on this coast and show that the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series has some of the best talent in the entire country.
Yeah, so it looks like our first two competitors are actually both from Ohio. So we got Alan Boss from Oak Harbor, Ohio. We got Kevin Ferraro from North Canton, Ohio. So not too far from Lake Erie Speedway. you know, if you're coming from Buffalo, it's like approximately an hour and a half. Obviously, if you're in Erie, PA, it's not too far of a drive. Ohio, I mean, I would assume probably an hour or two away. Not bad, you know. So really, we're pretty much the epicenter of the East Coast driving here.
Yeah, for sure, and it shines out when you consider some of the programs that are on board with the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series, you know, presented to us by Moty's, Formula Drift backing the series. Somebody's going home with a pro license here at the end of the series. Link ECU jumping on board to provide the top 3 finishers with a Link ECU as well. So a lot of stuff going for the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. Taking a look at the media in the media box. Shout out to all of our media here at Lake Erie Speedway in Drift, PA, Ohio, New York, providing tons of great footage and pictures for all of these drivers and all the grassroots guys throughout the weekend as well. Also, shout out to Propped Productions for making this live stream to the quality that it is, to bring it to you guys at home and give me and Brian a platform to be able to talk to you about it. So, some of the best media in the country, as well as some of the best drivers in the country.
Yeah, these prop production guys, you know, just seeing them fly with these drones is just absolutely unbelievable. It's something I like to mention at every event that we get to come up here and announce at. It's just absolutely incredible. You know, these guys have thousands of dollars into these drones, and they're flying them super, super fast, super close to the cars. Not something I could do, but I tell you what, it takes a hell of a lot of talent to do it.
So a little bit of a shuffle here in the qualifying order. We're going to see Kevin Ferraro first, as Brian had mentioned, from North Canton, Ohio, in his 328 IS. Turbo M52 under the hood. No sponsors for Kevin. So if you're looking to get on board of a really great driver's car, this would be a phenomenal opportunity for you.
It looks like something must have happened with Alan Boss's car, so we're going to be doing a buy run for Kevin Ferraro here. For the first qualifier.
Kevin Ferraro off into outside zone number 1, filling the zone very nicely, painting that outside white line, never dropped a tire out of the zone into outside zone number 2, right there against the backstretch wall, filling the zone absolutely beautiful, tons of angle in transition from Kevin into outside zone number 3, again just absolutely painting the outside line of the zone. Textbook run so far from Kevin Ferraro. Lake Erie Speedway, put your hands together.
That was a phenomenal run. I'd say that car is super dialed in. You know, he definitely looks comfortable behind the wheel. So excited to see, you know, once we get a couple more cars moving and shaking around here, once he gets up against someone for qualifying, I'm excited to see how that goes. But a great buy run.
So up next, we're going to see Mike Steele in his 240SX. He's got a 5.3 Illuminator under the hood. He's sponsored by Koenig Wheels, Dayco, Big Duck Club, Tire Stacks, and Driven Racing Oil. He hails from Woodland, Michigan. As you can just hear that thing absolutely rowdy for Mike Steele.
All right, so Mike's still here with his Nissan 240SX with a 5.3 Illuminator. Got all kinds of sponsors for Mike Steele here. And Kevin Ferraro with a score of 86 for his first run. So an awesome qualifying run for Kevin Ferraro. I'd say that's going to be a tough one to beat. 86 is a solid score for a first run.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've come to expect from Kevin, as if I'm not mistaken, he's been on the podium in the first 2 rounds of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. Mike Steele out of the chicane into outside zone number 1. Painting that outside line again a little bit shallower, but filling the zone nicely. Leaves a little bit early into outside zone number 2. Mike Steele fills all of outside zone number 2. Quick transition, lots of momentum into outside zone number 3, filling it nicely. A little bit of left foot brake there on the way out into outside zone number 4, and completes that run very nicely. So 2 for 2 right now. Consistency in filling those zones is exactly what the judges are looking for here in the Great Lakes ProAm Series. So 2 really good runs so far to get us started in qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like everyone's got the cobwebs shaking off the car. Everyone's warmed up, so it looks like we're going to have a pretty solid night here of qualifying runs, Ben. I'm pretty excited. Next up, we've got Chad Anderson in his 2002 BMW 325i. It's got a 5.0 Coyote in it. So it's a pretty sick car. We got Mike Steele with a total score of 79. 31 in line, 23 in angle, 25 in style. So that'll put him in second place so far. I got to say, Chad Anderson's livery on that car, it's one of my favorites. It's definitely sharp. It's different.
Yeah, it might be my favorite build in the pits, honestly. I mean, I've talked about it, I think, just about every live stream so far. If you're at the Speedway, make it a point to stop over and check out Chad's car. Chad out the chicane into outside zone number 1, flicks to angle and initiation, fills outside zone number 1 beautifully, smoking the track out, doing it, into outside zone number 2, fills outside zone number 2, very nice. Quick transition here. Anderson into outside zone number 3, fills all outside zone number 3, no tires out. Outside zone number 4, heavy on the left foot brake into outside zone number 4. Another solid run here. So 1, 2, 3, these guys picking them up, putting them down with no problem.
The judges are going to have some trouble tonight, Ben. It's going to be a rough night for these judges, I'll tell you.
And if this is any kind of precursor for what competition tomorrow might look like, you are not going to want to miss out on making your way to the Speedway or jumping on the live stream to be a part of it, because, boy, is this going to be a lot of fun.
Next up, we've got Matt McCallion in his Nissan 350Z K24 Turbo. So we got this Honda motor in the Z here. Another swap I love. Wow, Chad Anderson with a total score of 94. Solid run for Chad. So that'll put him in first place. Awesome job. But as I was saying, Matt McCallion with this car, I mean, this is just such a unique build. Probably the first 350Z I've seen with a K platform with a Honda engine in it. And he's going to show you right now how it performs. I mean, he's a phenomenal driver. It's a very well set up car. It's very dialed in. And very excited to see his qualifying run here.
Matt Moncallion out of the chicane into outside zone number 1, snaps to angle. Filling outside zone number 1, very nice. Stays all the way through outside zone number 1 into outside zone number 2. Comes in a little bit shallow, widens it out. Able to fill the rest of the zone, very nice into outside zone number 3. Painting down that outside white line, just letting it hang out there. Into outside zone number 4. And another solid run here for Matt Moncallion.
I tell you, if all the qualifying runs are like this, it's going to be one exciting night. I mean, it already has been. You know, we got some high scores up here on the board so far. We've got 86, a 79, 94. I mean, this is a great night. You know, everyone's doing really well. The cars are looking great, and I think everyone's real comfortable with the layout. Next up, we've got Casey Rodriguez and his Nissan 350Z. This has got an LS in it, and this car absolutely rips. Every time it comes out here, we feel it shaking up in the booth. Lots of tire smoke, lots of speed, lots of power, and he's just a phenomenal driver. So another run to look forward to.
Matt Moncallion's score on the board, a 32 on line, 24 on angle, 27 on style for a total of 83. Gonna slot him into the 3rd spot. Casey Rodriguez, another traveler to the Great Lakes ProAm Series. He's from Fremont, Ohio. a regular here with PA, Ohio, New York in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series, through the chicane. Initiates into outside zone number 1. Oh, drops a tire in outside zone number 1. Able to suck it back into the zone pretty quickly into outside zone number 2. A little bit of a correction there, getting into outside zone number 2. The transition into outside zone number 3. Comes up just a little bit short, but gets into the zone. Not as deep as the other competitors that we've seen so far. A little bit shallow on angle into outside zone number 4, so Casey, maybe a little bit of nerves on hand here at the moment.
Yeah, like we said, we're so early in the night. Everyone's still getting used to the layout. It's starting to cool down, so the track conditions are changing. So, as we progress, I think everyone will feel a lot more comfortable. We'll see everyone getting real crazy out here. But it looks like next up we've got Mike Sampson in his E30, which is also LS swapped. Another sweet car, very unique build, not something you see too often. But, man, does he wheel that car. I mean, he's one hell of a driver.
Yeah, and he's doing all that with no power steering. I know that I'm sure that there's probably plenty of drifters with no power steering, and some might prefer it that way. But Casey Rodriguez score in 29 on line, 20 on angle, 19 on style for a total of 68. So hopefully that's enough to get Casey in. If not, he will be headed to a last chance qualifier in our knockout qualifying. Mike Sampson out of the chicane into outside zone number 1. Little bit shallow into outside zone number 1. Gets nice and wide on his way out. Transition to outside zone number 2, filling it very nicely. You can see painting down that outside line and pouring the smoke off that LS swap beamer. Outside zone number 3 again, a little bit timid on entry into outside zone number 3. Not timid into outside zone number 4, filling all of that zone. So again, as Brian had just mentioned, it's been a hot day out here at the Speedway, and the sun's really been beaten straight onto the track surface. That is not the case anymore. You can see that sunlight with it setting, just nicking the backstretch wall.
Tony Schmidt's car is all one color. I was unaware.
And he told me that he got some hate for being all one color.
It looks
he
sharp.
said that somebody said they liked it better as like the Harley Quinn Corvette.
It was unique. It was different, but I will say it does look sharp, all one color. So, excited to see what Tony's going to put down for us here tonight. He's been driving real good, just out here just with the free-for-all, I guess you could say, grassroots driving. So we'll see what he does in competition. Mike Sampson with the 82, 34 for line, 22 for angle, 26 for style. Great run by Mike Sampson.
Tony Schmidt comes to us from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sponsored by Schmidt Family Racing. Tony's off through the chicane into outside zone number 1. Drops a wheel out of outside zone number 1, able to gather it back up and leaves a little bit early to outside zone number 2. Very nice through outside zone number 2. Transition to 3. Lots of angle. Oh, couldn't keep it together. Tough luck for Tony, just too much angle. Stalls it up there going into outside zone number 3. So going to be an incomplete 0 for Tony Schmidt.
So one thing we really didn't mention, Ben, with this layout, obviously you're like you always discuss with the progressive banking, the track is paved a little bit differently in certain spots of the track, and you'll see the cars become unsettled in, I guess that would be, what is that, outside zone number 2 right there? So you'll see coming into outside zone number 2, the car is, unsettled, and then coming out of outside zone number 2, it becomes unsettled again. So that could be a lot, like when you're driving, if you have the car set up and it just kind of throws you off, it's hard to recover from that. So unfortunately, Tony Schmidt with the 0, but hopefully he'll get everything dialed in. We'll be back to try it again.
Up next, we're going to see Elliott Rose in his FRS. He got a 6-liter supercharged under the hood, sponsored by Tire Stacks, Oddball Motorworks, and Race Lab Industries. Elliott Rose into outside zone number 1. Flicks to initiation, drops at least one tire out outside zone number 1. Supercharged LS screaming under the hood of that car. Again, maybe dropping another wheel in outside zone number 2. Can tell that car's a little bit more loose. The outside zone number 3, heavy on the left foot brake, painting down the outside line to 4. Heavy on the left foot brake as he came up a little bit shallow and had to get it back to angle. Overall, a solid run for Elliott Rose here on his first run. See how many, or how, dropping those couple tires affects his qualifying score here.
I gotta say, that car produces a lot of smoke. I want to know how much horsepower that thing makes. It's got to make, what would you say, high fives maybe?
Maybe even more, maybe?
Yeah, it sounded crazy. Lots of smoke, lots of angle. That's a sweet car. One of my favorites. Next up, we've got, is this Theon? Theon Nelson and his Nissan 370Z. Sponsors are Mommy and Daddy. So I don't know if we mentioned last time, but Theon sometimes comes here with a semi. That's what he does for a living, drives some big old trucks. So I don't know if he brought it this time, but I've seen him come to a couple of events with a semi. We've got Elliott Rose with a 74, 30 for line, 20 for angle, 24 for style.
So as we await Theon to take off out of the chicane here, as Brian was talking about outside zone number 2, I actually watched quite a few people DB'd going into outside zone number 2 in the last day session. Theon Nelson into outside zone number 1, filling outside zone number 1, very nice. Turbocharged VQ. Now outside zone number 2, fills that nicely. Big lift there in transition to go to outside zone number 3. Comes up short on outside zone number 3. Able to get in there through the latter half of it. Outside zone number 4, a little bit of correction there from Theon. So again, earlier with the sun beating down, the track was kind of slimy and loose. Now as the sun's coming off of it, that rubber's starting to almost be more adhesive to the car. So if these guys were setting up a little bit tighter for the conditions earlier and the track's getting tighter on them, and I think it's not a problem for everybody, but I think that we've seen it a little bit through a couple of these first qualifiers.
I want to say it's probably more so a problem for the people that have the lower horsepower cars, because with the bigger horsepower, you can just kind of be heavier on the go pedal and just kind of power through it. So we got Theon's score up. He's got a total of 62, 25 for line, 15 for angle, and a 22 for style. Next up, we've got Ricky Gaston in his C5 Corvette with the LS1. I think he's competed with us before, right? Ricky's competed with us before.
Yes, and Aaron Spiegel borrowed his car and stuck it in the bank wall.
Yep.
So not double duty on the Corvette today. We'll see what Ricky can get done here in qualifying into outside zone number 1. Enters a little bit shallow, pushes him to drop a wheel out of outside zone number 1 into outside zone number 2. Comes up short, big correction to fill the zone there. Transition into outside zone number 3. Oh, really similar to what we just saw there out of Tony Schmidt. Big flick to angle there. And as you had mentioned, fresh repave last year to the infield of the Speedway. So a little bit of a different surface to surface down there as you come out of the middle section. So very potentially exactly what happened to Tony Schmidt happened to Ricky Gaston here. So unfortunately, 0 for Ricky Gaston on his first run.
Next up, we've got Aaron Farrell in his 2004 Infiniti G35. It's got a VQ in it. I know he's got a little bit of nitrous. Not sure if he's running it. Something we discussed last time. I guess we'll be able to tell. We'll know if it's a stock VQ going around the track or he's got, a 50, 100 shot or whatever he's working with there. So he's been competing quite a bit lately, and I think that'll show here with his driving.
Fun fact for you, if I'm not mistaken, Aaron is the only competitor in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series that is from Erie, Pennsylvania. So representing us here in Erie in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series.
He's on his home turf, man. He's got to show up. He's got to show out.
Aaron Farrell through the chicane into outside zone number 1. You can see with that bit less power that he has, struggles to fill outside zone number 1. He's got a ton of grip to the car, it looks like at this point, you know, just driving really straight out of the zones here right now. Into outside zone number 3, fills outside zone number 3 nicely. Dropping tires in transition and maybe even a straighten. Yep. Straighten from Aaron Farrell there in the end. Can tell he's got the grip cranked to the car. So unfortunately for Aaron Farrell, with that straighten in outside zone number 4, that is going to give him a 0.
Next up, we've got Ryan Reese with a 98 Toyota Chaser, 1.5 JZ, and he's joining us from Canada. Thanks for coming on down. Joining us from Markham, Ontario. So not sure how far that is up into Canada. I know like Jacob Gettins lives about 5 hours away into Canada. And I don't know where Andrew Shorkey lives in Canada either, but I think he said it's like a 3-hour drive for him. I'm pretty sure they're pretty good friends with each other. So excited to see what this, I think this is the only right-hand drive we have, right-hand drive car we have competing. So super excited to see the run they put down. Ryan Reese.
That 1.5 JZ sounds gnarly. Maybe one of the best engine sounding platforms in my opinion, you know.
Your opinion is the right opinion. There's nothing that sounds quite like it. Unless if it's a turbo Miata. Those sound pretty sweet too, you know. So Ben, before we send them here, what's your opinion on the layout? How's your car doing on this layout? You like it?
Yeah, I like it a lot. You know, it's really tandem friendly. It's a nice little change of pace, you know, versus what we normally run here at the Speedway. So very tandem friendly. The only thing is, you know, debeating tires and outside too, but not a big deal. Ryan Reese into outside zone number 1. He's in it, but he's hardly in it. Outside zone number 2. Jay-Z screaming through outside zone number 2. Fills it very nice. Outside zone number 3, he's all the way there. Towards the inside of outside zone number 3 and outside zone number 4. Solid first qualifying run here for Ryan Reese.
That's got to be one of my favorite cars out here. Those JZS are sweet, sweet cars. So let's see what the judges have to say about say about his run. Next up, we've got Jacob Schuster in his E36 BMW. Shout out to Jacob Schuster's dad. Is it Dane? Dane Schuster? He does media for us out here. Has some sweet photos of the cars. You guys got to make sure you're checking out all the media people's pages. You know, they do try to post it as much as they can, but you got to check out their pages. Ryan Reese with a 67, 21 on style, 21 on line, 23 on angle, and a 23 on style. So I know Jacob Schuster gave this car like a complete makeover for this year, so it's looking pretty sharp out there. Let's see how it runs.
Jake Schuster into outside zone number 1. Hear him banging off the limiter through outside zone number 1. Into outside zone number 2. Heavy on the left foot brake. Comes up short on outside zone number 2. Transition into outside zone number 3. Just a little bit short on outside zone 3. Able to get into it through the last half of outside 3. Outside 4. Fills it nicely. Comes out just a little bit early. So again, you know, seeing that grip level kind of shining through, and as you had mentioned, you know, maybe a little bit less power than some of the other competitors here. Thanks to everybody who's joining us here on the live stream. Shout out to Adam Heichman. Saw he dropped a comment on there. Congratulations on grabbing your pro license. Always a blast to see you taking part with the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series, and we're missing you here in round number 3.
Next up, we've got Blake Doge in his Nissan 240SX. So this is a turbo LS, but it's not the same as every other turbo LS you hear. You hear a lot of turbo coming out of this car. I mean, it is loud. The turbo is very, very obvious. Looks like he's smoking a little bit. Oh, my goodness. What is going on? Oh, pop that hood. What do we got? I know last of it. Oh, we got Jacob Schuster with a 46, a 14 on line, a 16 on angle, and a 16 on style. So hopefully we don't have a fire. I know the last event that car was on fire. Hopefully that's not the case here.
Again, while we have some downtime, let us know where you're watching from. Tag a buddy that shouldn't be missing out on the action. Let us know who you're rooting for out here in round 3 of the Great Lakes ProAm Series presented by Moty's. Taking a look at the order right now, Chad Anderson sitting on the throne with a 94, Kevin Ferraro in second with an 86, Matt Moncallion in third with an 83, Mike Sampson in fourth with an 82, Mike Steele in fifth with a 79, Casey Rodriguez in sixth with a 77, Elliott Rose in seventh with a 74, Aaron Farrell, Ryan Reese in eighth with a 67, Theon Nelson in ninth with a 62, and Jacob Schuster currently sitting in 10th with a 46. Tony Schmidt had a 0, Ricky Gaston had a 0, and Aaron Farrell, who is currently on your screen in the 8th spot, he was a 0. So just shuffle those last couple guys down one spot, and you got your order here so far. So, as I had mentioned earlier, if this is any kind of preview for what competition tomorrow is going to be like, it is going to be a lot of fun, and you don't want to miss out. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow here for round number 3 of the competition series. We're going to see Blake leave grid here with some kind of mechanical problem. He was smoking from under the hood of the car when he got over to grid, so we'll see what happens. You can see maybe a little bit of a smoke trail there behind the car, maybe an oil leak or something like that.
Hey, shout out to Blake's brother. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better, man. Excited to see you out here again soon. Hopefully you're healing up fast and everything's well, man. Hopefully you're watching.
Give another shout out to Tom Perner. Moved down from Erie down to the swamp of Florida. We're missing you up here, brother. We really appreciate you joining. Having a little conversation in there with one of our competitors, Adam Heischman, as I had just mentioned, getting his pro license, so not competing with us this weekend.
Next up, for qualifying, we've got Jeff Clark in his Ford Mustang. So we don't have too much information on his Mustang. Not sure really what's done to the motor or anything like that. But looks good, man. I'm a big fan of Mustangs. If they were in my budget, I'd certainly get one. I know FDF makes a pretty sick angle kit for him. Adam Heischman, I mean, that's a great example of, if you could wheel a car, I mean, that man wheels that Mustang, dude. I mean, he is an incredible driver. So, if we could get a similar kind of driving style from Jeff Clark here, I mean, we'll have to see.
Definitely. And, Heischman, I think, trying to make that platform work for him moving into the future. Can probably confirm down there in the comments for you guys who are watching at home, but I think he is going to stick with that Mustang to get into his pro career. So Jeff Clark is going to be up next. He's hailing from Carlton, Michigan. Into outside zone number 1, Jeff Clark comes up a little bit short on outside zone number 1. You see that little correction there, mid-zone. Into outside zone number 2, very aggressive, fills the zone pretty nice. Out a little bit early, however. Into outside zone number 3, pouring the angle to the Mustang. Fills outside zone number 3, very nice. Outside zone number 4 comes up just a little bit short on outside 4, able to make his way through the end of the run before spinning. So that should be a scored run for Jeff Clark. So we'll see, but it's like you had mentioned. I just think as this sun's setting, these guys with lower power that grip their cars up earlier, that's really being a sword in their side at the moment. If you're not already, make sure you follow Drift PA Ohio New York on Facebook and the Lake Erie Speedway Facebook page to keep up to date with all things happening at the Speedway, including our drift events and many other things. If there's an event for anybody, we probably have it. We had a rodeo this year, have a wine festival, we have drifting, we have oval track racing, really with one of the best touring series that there is offered in the United States right now, the Rock Series, the Race of Champions, ROC Rock. So if you haven't been out to take part in that, but scores in for Clark, so a 0 for Jeff Clark.
So unfortunately, with him spinning at the end of the line there, the judges were talking up here, and obviously if someone was tandeming with him, obviously at the end there would have been a T-bone situation, so unfortunately a 0. Next up, we've got Savannah Campbell and her Nissan S13.
Savannah into outside zone number 1, unable to initiate, gets hard on the left foot brake and pushes those front wheels straight through outside zone number 1.
So that will be a 0 for Savannah.
Next up, we're going to see Andrew Wilder in his FRS LS3 under the hood. He's sponsored by Zenkova Tires, 6 manufacturing state renewable lubricants, Grip Royal, DEI, and Wilder Drift. He's from Circleville, Ohio. So again, the greater majority of competitors in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series presented by Moty's are travelers, and they do travel rather far to get here.
So Andrew runs Wilder Drift. Great place to go to get, honestly, the best pricing on parts that I have found so far. I mean, if I need a part for my Miata, I shoot him a message on Facebook, gets back to me in 20 minutes usually. He's able to get me the part I need within 5 days usually. Super cool, down-to-earth guy. Him and his wife, really great people. He's a phenomenal driver. I know last time he was having some trouble with that car, so hopefully he's got all of his bugs worked out, shook the cobwebs off, and he's ready to throw down here today. Super excited to see what kind of run he lays down.
Andrew Wilder out of the chicane into outside zone number 1. Comes up short on outside zone number 1 on initiation. Leaves a little bit early once he gets there. Outside zone number 2. Oh, big straighten. Nearly kissing the backstretch wall in his FRS into outside zone number 3. Maybe even dropping one tire in transition there. Outside zone number 4. Heavy on the left foot brake. So we'll see, that straighten in outside zone number 2. I kind of just caught it out of the corner of my eye. A lot going on up here from the booth, so not exactly sure if that was warranting a 0, but looked like it from here.
Yeah, honestly, hard to say. I couldn't. It was like honestly right where the monitor is for us. So hard to say kind of what happened over there. But it looks like the car might be a little too gripped up. So maybe he's got to pull some grip out of it. Get some more consistent runs out here. I know in practice earlier he was doing really, really well. So that did catch me by surprise. But next up we've got Paul Robbins. No, that's not him. All right, so unfortunately with the straighten, Wilder with a 0.
Up next, we're going to see Brian Bubash. Apologize, don't have any of Brian's information currently on where he's from, but appreciate Brian joining us. I know he's been to the Speedway before. Twin Turbo
LS. Oh, Holy Toledo. And that S13 here, we're going to see him throw down. You don't see too many twin turbo LSs.
Bubash into outside zone number 1. Drops a tire. Leaves a little bit early on outside 1, into outside 2, comes up short on outside 2, lots of angle, lots of smoke. You hear those turbos screaming through the wastegate. Short on outside zone number 3 by quite some margin. Into outside zone number 4, maybe even dropping a tire in outside 4. So a little rough around the edges for Brian Bubash on his first run.
I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to see as we get later in the night, these cars look a little too gripped up. Do you agree with me on that, Ben? I mean, this car that we just saw, like, sweep the tires out here, it looked like it was pretty gripped up. So I don't know if that's going to translate to their run on the qualifier here. But I want to say Brian Bubash might be a little bit too gripped up. Hard to say, though. I mean, that car's got a lot of power. I mean, I feel like you run 10 pounds in that car and be fine with all that power to a turbo LS.
Ian Myhert in his 240SX, JZ power under the hood, coming from Carlton, Michigan. So, again, a good bit of power in this JZ powered S chassis. Really, really clean build, too.
Beautiful livery.
Yeah, if you're pit side, make sure you stop by and check that out.
Brian Bubash with a total score of a 36, 10 for line, 15 for angle, and 11 for style.
Ian's out of the chicane into outside zone number 1, comes up short on outside 1. Unable to get into the zone at all, and outside 1 to outside 2. Coming up a little bit short on outside 2, just slightly teetering on the inside line of outside 2 to outside 3. Gets there, leaves it, goes back in to outside 4, maybe even a little bit of a straighten in transition there. But fills all of outside zone number 4 nicely. So we'll see, but again, I think a good example of what you were just talking about and what we've both mentioned throughout the live stream, that, grip the car up earlier while it was slick out there, and the rubber that's laid on the track was, very icy and hot. As the sun sets here, gets a lot more tacky as that rubber cools down on the track surface.
Looks like Ian's going to have a total score of 29, so we got an 8 for line, 11 for angle, and a 10 for style. So it looks like Alan Boss has come out to join us with his LS9 swapped Nissan 350Z. Like we spoke about before, Alan Boss, super, super, super good driver. I believe this is his 102nd event in that car, or of the year, I forget. But I saw on Facebook he had, on his roll cage, he's got it, all checked out. He's got, what do you call them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tallies. There you go. Yep. So, great driver, very, very good competitor, and a sweet car.
So Alan Boss, out of the chicane. He's finished on the podium every round of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. Oh, dropping tires through outside zone number 1. Transition to outside 2. Oh, drops more tires in outside 2. Heavy to the left foot brake to carry out of outside 2. The outside 3. Almost a polar opposite of what we've been seeing. Maybe loosened it up a little bit too much here, as he just has to paint the left foot brake to the car to maintain the zone. So, something that we don't really see very often from Alan in qualifying, dropping tires in zones. So see what that does for him here. And, if he's going to have to work his way from the bottom of the bracket, he's going to have his work cut out for him for sure. So,
yeah, I got to say that was surprising. I don't know if the car's not dialed in or the track just feels a lot different. But we'll have to see what the judges have to say.
There you see on the live stream. You can catch Lake Erie Speedway on all major social media platforms. And also at the Great Lakes ProAm series on YouTube for any of the live streams as we take a look at some of the Speedway's sponsors along the backstretch wall. Again, want to give a big shout out to Link ECU and Formula Drift for making the Great Lakes Pro-Am series doable for us, as well as Moty's, our presenting sponsor. Some of the best lubricants in the game provided by Moty's. Go check them out. Also, Summit Racing Equipment, a big partner for us here at the Speedway, providing our drivers and our Great Lakes Pro-Am competitors very good discounts. Score is up for Alan Boss, 21 on line, 12 on angle, a 17 on style, for a total score of 50 for Alan Boss. So, as we had mentioned, you know, from what we've seen from Alan in the Great Lakes Pro-Am series, very uncharacteristic.
So we've got our, what do you want to call that? Help me out here. We've got our bracket up on the board here. We've got Chad Anderson in first, Kevin Ferraro in second, Matt McCallion in third, Mike Sampson in fourth, Mike Steele in fifth, Elliot Rose in sixth, Casey Rodriguez in seventh, Ryan Reese in eighth, Theon Nelson in ninth, Alan Boss in 10th, Jacob Schuster in 11th, Brian Bubash in 12th, Ian in 13th, Aaron Farrell in 14th, Tony Schmidt in 15th, Ricky Gaston is 16th, Blake in 17th, Jeff Clark in 18th, Savannah Campbell in 19th, and then Josh Leatherborough I don't think came, Andrew Wilder and Paul Robinson.
Yeah, tough luck for Paul. Ended up getting his LS swap done here this past week on his BMW. Drove it around Michigan to get things broken in and ready. Gets to the track, makes a couple of practice runs, and rear main seal, leaves the chat. So tough break for Paul Robinson. Score to beat right now, 36. So the couple of competitors that we saw get zeros, I'm not sure. So Blake Doge did get a 0 on his run as well because he broke at grid. So these guys that got zeros, guys and girls, we're going to see them get another qualifying attempt. They have to beat a 36. So Brian Bubash is sitting on the bubble in the 12th spot with a score of 36. So see what these guys can do. I mean, for the most part, you know, as we had mentioned, it really looked like basically for the most part, everybody that zeroed had a ton of grip with, you know, the sun going down and stuff. You know, whether it was the way that they had the car set up earlier or they made some changes for qualifying and just ended up with too much grip. You know, it's something that gets talked about a lot in the competing series, you know, really all over the United States is, man, you know, you try to dial as much grip into your setup as you can, end up putting yourself in a spot where the car just doesn't perform the way that you need it to, you know? So ends up being a shortcoming for a lot of qualifying runs. And then, you know, through competition, if you're in that chase spot and you just have way too much grip in your car, it's going to make it really hard to maintain the flow of the lead driver, because that's what it's all about. You know, match that angle, match that line, and if you have a ton of grip, it's going to be really hard to do both of those things. Giving those drivers a couple minutes here to get their machines ready for the second round of battle. Figuratively, we are not battling tonight, but back to qualifying for a second qualifying run.
So, Ben, I got a good question for you. If you were out there running, what would you, and you felt like your car wasn't performing, right? You feel like you're too gripped up. If you pulled off, what would you do to your car to change that?
Well, I think it just really varies chassis to chassis and what each driver is fighting, really. For me in particular on my car, if I was too gripped up, I'd probably go a little bit stiffer in my rear dampening, maybe throw a little bit more tire pressure at it. And, that's the thing for me at a grassroots level. I pretty much run a neutraled out alignment, basically everything zeroed. So, not a whole lot of positive or negative anything, except for some positive camber in the back for tire wear. But so, depending upon those kind of things and what each of these drivers and their chassis prefers, the car reacts better to change. It could be a toe adjustment, it could be a tire pressure adjustment, it could be, a multitude of things. So, but, I think really the most simple of moves that you might make is a tire pressure adjustment, really.
Yeah, with my car, that's all I really do. So, like, once I get my alignment set, pretty much all I'm doing is changing tire pressures in my car. Pretty much, I keep the front at 28. It's just my preference. And the rear, I used to run it really high. I used to be at like 40, 45 pounds. But as the car makes, a little bit more juice, I have lowered it down since to about 25 pounds. And the car feels pretty comfortable like that. Obviously, you and I haven't been out with it cooled down out there yet. So I might have to make an adjustment here or there. But like I said, as far as dampening and stuff like that goes, I tend to try to leave that alone, just change my driving style. But everyone has their own thing. Like you said, some people adjust toe, some people adjust camber. Some people have their whole suspensions apart. They feel like their car's not driving right, and they just redo everything. But, from my car, very simple stuff. It sounds like your car is pretty much very similar with, tire pressure, maybe a little bit of dampening here and there just to get it kind of dialed into where we want it to drive.
So take a quick second here, jump into the live stream. Got some people rooting on the Andrew Wilder in the comments. Again, shout out to Tom Perner. Go check out his new website.
Tom Perner's the biggest fan, man. Look at him. He's all over the chat.
Yeah, he definitely is.
He's talking to everyone in here.
Yeah, go check out his, he just launched a little bit of a brand for himself, doing some 3D printing stuff. I believe it's Pernstar Motorsports, Pernstar.
Yeah, so let's see. Going back to the stream here, as you can see, Lake Erie Speedway. It's a beautiful night. No overcast, it's kind of nice. The sunset's looking pretty. Nice and cool out. We're not going to be sweating when we go back out there, Ben. I'm kind of excited about that. Shout out to Team Vacation. Let's do some shout outs. Shout out to ZZX Digital. Of course, that's the homie, Jacob Gettins. He's actually here from Canada. If you need anything done for your business, any kind of promotional stuff, you need some business advice, you need some life advice,
program.
Reach out to him, man. I mean, he's a phenomenal person. So, really cool guy to talk to. Who else you want to shout out?
Well, Moty's, Link ECU,
of course,
Pro
all the
Waste
homies.
Services, all kinds of people that help make this stuff happen for us here at the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series.
Shout out to AJ. AJ, the man, the myth, the legend.
Gotcha. We're going to take a quick break here from the live stream. Don't go anywhere. Grab your drink as we finish out our knockout qualifying. And we'll be right back from a word from our sponsors.
Ultimate lubricant. Moty's.
Hey guys, Jeff Jones here.
I'm Dylan Hughes.
I'm Travis Reeder.
I'm Ken Gushin.
I'm Matt Field. I drive Link.
They are the most reliable ECU around, and they always deliver. Their global tech support gives me the advice I need every time I need it.
Their products are super easy to install and easy to set up for the performance that I want.
They stand behind their products and support their customers. They're always innovating and delivering great new products and performance features.
I drive
Link.
Welcome back to Lake Erie Speedway for round number 3 of the Great Lakes ProAm Series presented by Moty's. Up first, we're going to see Tony Schmidt. He angle stalled on his first run in outside zone number 3. See if he made any changes here. Car looked pretty good on his first run, just gets a lot of angle and gets stalled up. So
Why so serious in the photo there?
that's that big swag.
That's not like him.
Big swag, neck lift, little guy,
Yeah,
what
I
you
don't know.
looking at,
Right.
kind of.
Dude, usually he's got a big smile on his face. I'm surprised.
Tony's the man. So Tony Schmidt,
In the one color Corvette, it's no longer a Harley Quinn Corvette.
going to be doing a lot of driving with Tony here this weekend after the competition wraps up. He's on the Asphalt Cowboys, and I think he's the only Asphalt Cowboy that is in attendance here this weekend. So looking to make some laps with the team vacation guys here this weekend. Tony Schmidt through the chicane for his second qualifying attempt. Into outside zone 1, drops 2 tires in outside zone number 1. Leaves outside zone 1 early to outside zone number 2. Fills outside zone number 2, very nice. No tires drop, stays all the way in it. To outside zone 3, able to get through outside zone 3, leaves a little bit early. To outside zone number 4, fills it very nice through the finish. So that'll put a score up this time for him at least.
Yeah, I'd say a lot better than his first run. You know, he's definitely progressing as we go throughout the night here. So be interested to see what the judges have to say about that run. I know he had a little bit of trouble staying in the zones, but overall, a pretty good run.
And again, if you're just joining us, the bubble spot right now is Brian Bubosh in 12th with a 36. So Tony's got to score higher than a 36 to be in competition tomorrow, and then survive everybody else who has a second qualifying attempt as well. So, I mean, you could be sitting safe on the leaderboard right now, and you might not be safe here in a couple of minutes. So, a couple of drivers sitting towards the bottom 12, probably watching the stream intently if they're not on the backstretch wall right now, waiting to see if they're going to be competing tomorrow. Scores in for Tony Schmidt, a big improvement. 28 on line, 18 on angle, 22 on style for a total of 68 for Tony Schmidt.
One number shy, guys, again.
I misspoke there. The top 12 are locked in. They cannot be knocked back out. So Brian Bubosh is safe. Tony Schmidt is in.
Ricky Gaston with a C5 Corvette. Let's see what he can put down.
Ricky initiates into outside zone number 1. Comes up a little bit shallow on start. No shortage of limiter here in that Corvette. Into outside zone number 2. Comes up short on outside 2. Fills the latter half of the zone. Oh, big angle in transition. Into outside zone number 3. Painting down the outside line and using all of the limiter to do it. Outside 4. Limiter just singing for Ricky Gaston as he smokes out the track. Really, really good second run for Ricky Gaston.
I love a driver that's not afraid to leave their car on the limiter, dude. It's something that I enjoy doing myself, although I know it's not, the most intelligent idea. But, man, there's nothing cooler than just, third gear, wide open throttle, just bounce it off the rev limiter, man. It sounds sick. Next up, we've got Aaron Farrell looking to improve on his second qualifying run here. Just waiting on the score for Ricky Gaston here. I'd have to say definitely a huge improvement. I mean, we'll have to see what the judges have to say.
Scores in for Ricky Gaston. 28 on line, 18 on angle, 29 on style for a total of 75. So Tony Schmidt able to improve, Ricky Gaston able to improve. Aaron Farrell, VQ under the hood, little bit of nitrous if he's got it hooked up into outside zone number 1. Much better this time through outside zone number 1. You can tell probably freed that car up a little bit here for the second run. Comes up just a little bit short, teetering right on the line of outside zone number 2 into outside 3. Fills outside zone number 3 nice. Again, one of the lower powered cars in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series through outside zone number 4. Able to make it into outside zone 4. Leaves a little bit early. Gonna have to be a huge improvement there for Errol over the 0 that he had earlier, making all of that VQ power work for him.
Yeah, I have to say, in our lineup, I want to say it's probably the lowest horsepower car. So, he's really got to work it, I don't really hear any clutch kicking, though, so it looks like it's doing what it needs to.
And up next, we're going to see Blake Doge. Was unable to make his first run, broke sitting on grid, so he was awarded a 0 and has not attempted a qualifying run yet. So see what comes into play here for Blake.
I would imagine he's got to have the heebie-jeebies, man. He didn't get to do his first run to kind of feel out how the track is, and this is, his one and only chance here. So hopefully he can lay down a solid run. We've got Aaron Farrell with a total score of a 53, so a 22 for line, 14 for angle, and a 17 for style.
Turbo LS power under the hood for Blake. This car sounds rowdy. Lights go on, lights go out through the chicane. Blake initiates really, really, really early for outside zone number 1, and it sets him up bad for outside zone number 1. Unable to get through outside zone number 1 into outside 2. Comes up short on outside 2. Transition to 3. He makes it all the way to outside zone 3, leaves a little bit early, able to get back in to it for the end. Outside 4, a big correction, makes Blake leave outside 4 early. So not what Blake was looking to do here after a very unfortunate first run 0. See if it's enough to put him inside of the top 16 and advanced into competition here tomorrow. Competition starts tomorrow at 11 a.m. if you're joining us on the live stream. So set your alarm for 10:30, 10:45. You don't want to miss a bit of the action as we get rolling nice and early tomorrow. And again, the conditions of the track tomorrow, if it's sunny, are going to be way different than what these guys qualified today. So it's kind of a wild card on what we might need to do moving into tomorrow.
Looks like it's going to be kind of sunny and 78 tomorrow. So maybe not having so much sun will help out a little bit with staying consistent throughout the day into the night. not as much UV on the track. Blake Doge with a total score of a 29. So not exactly what he was looking for, but at least he was able to get the car figured out to do one run.
So up next, we're going to see Jeff Clark for his second run. Again, Jeff coming to us from Grand Island. Jeff through outside zone number 1, fills outside zone number 1 nicely, out a little bit early, maybe even a straight in there and transition into outside zone number 2. See what the judges think about that. To outside zone number 3, a big check of speed through outside zone number 3, dropping a wheel on his way out. To outside zone number 4, comes up short on outside zone number 4. So again, maybe not exactly what Jeff was looking to do here on his second run. First run was a 0. We'll see, if there was a complete straight in there and transition to outside zone number 2 or not. Up next, we're going to see Savannah Campbell. She's sponsored by Spooling Up Performance. Indeed, a 0 for Jeff Clark on his second run. So 2 zeros for Jeff Clark. Unfortunately, he's just going to be enjoying the rest of the weekend.
With the boys. I mean, we'll be able to drive with them. So still not that big of a deal. That's a nice part about this competition. Even if you don't qualify or anything like that, things aren't going well, you still get to come drive with all of us, degenerates after.
Savannah Campbell initiates into outside zone number 1. Comes up short on outside zone number 1. Turbo KA under the hood of that S13. Oh, and a straighten in outside zone number 2 for Savannah Campbell. So unfortunately, looks like going to be another 0 here for Savannah. Through outside zone number 4, comes up short. But I do believe that straighten in outside zone number 2 going to be a 0 for Savannah Campbell on her second attempt.
All right, we got the underglow on. We're ready to rock and roll out here. Andrew Welder. Yep, so Savannah Campbell with another 0. Unfortunately, a double 0 for tonight for qualifying. Andrew Wilder out here with that, it almost looks like Boosted Bulbs underglow, guys. I don't know. Wow, it's looking pretty good. I mean, nice and bright, good colors. Jeez. All right, so we'll have to see how he performs out here. He had a little bit of trouble with his first run, but hopefully second run he's got the car loosened up a little bit, can put it in the zones, get it where it needs it to be, and we'll have to see.
Andrew Wilder through the chicane, trying to improve on his first run. Solid through outside zone number 1. A little bit shallow on angle. Comes up short on outside zone number 2, able to fill it on the way out. Oh, big momentum swing to outside zone number 3, dropping a wheel out of outside 3, and then into outside zone 4. Lots of angle, unable to stay in outside zone 4. So Wilder, first run was a 0. See what he put up here, see if he's going to be in the big show tomorrow morning. So up next, we're going to see Ian Myhart. Sorry if I'm butchering your last name, Ian.
I didn't even try it. At least you're trying. I give you big kudos for trying his last name.
Myhart.
Yeah, we need to get some pronunciation up here on these last names. I know I did that. Like when I first started announcing, people that had difficult last names, I would have them send me a voice recording of their last names because I was like so worried about butchering it. But now it just is what it is. If we screwed up, let us know.
JZ power under the hood of the S chassis. Beautiful livery as well. Again, as I had mentioned on his first run, extremely clean build here. Tons of style in this ride. He scored a 29 his first run, so if he can improve on that, probably going to have good luck on being in the show tomorrow.
Just got to score better than a 30, right, Ben? Is that what it is, a 30 or a 36? I think it's a 36. Got to score better than a 36. That's what Brian Bubash had.
Well, then it would.
Does that mean he's good no matter what? Is that how that works? Yeah, but he has the 29, so does that mean he's good no matter what? The guy that's out right now.
Okay.
Oh, there's two 29s. Gotcha.
So who's the bubble person? Trying to figure out for you guys where the bubble's at currently with some technicalities. There's a tie at 29 right now. Scores in for Andrew Wilder. 15 on line, 11 on angle, 15 on style for a total of 41. So the bubble is Andrew Wilder sitting in the 16th spot with a 41. So Mehert, sorry, again, Ian, just going to stick with Ian for now. Ian's got to get better than a 41 here. He's our last, second chance qualifier here. So higher than a 41 and Ian is in. Lower than a 41, Ian is out. Ian rolls through the chicane, initiates into outside zone number 1. He's into outside zone number 1. Big correction there through the middle, but fills the whole zone, dropping no tires. Outside zone number 2, he's filling it. Transition to outside zone 3. Oh, right against the line of the outside of the zone. Jay-Z spitting fire out the tailpipe. The outside zone 4 leaves outside zone 4 a little bit early. Oh boy. This is going to be a shuffle here for that 16th spot. As, I would say pretty much Wilder's run and Ian's run both really, really similar. We'll see what he scores here. Big flame out the tailpipe. So things getting interesting here. This might be the biggest nail biter we've had in qualifying yet. 41 for Wilder, currently sitting in the 16th spot as we await Ian's score. Will he knock Wilder out? Can he get higher than a 41? Score is in for Ian Mehert. 23 on line, 13 on angle, 20 on style for a total of 56. Ian is in the top 16 for the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series here tomorrow. Take a look through the pits here at Lake Erie Speedway. Absolutely beautiful facilities. The track and general manager AJ Moore providing us everything that we need to have as much fun and success as we can. As we take a look at the final order here of who made their way in. Sitting on the throne, your number 1 overall qualifier. Everybody put your hands together for Chad Anderson. Sitting in the 2nd spot, Kevin Ferraro. 3rd, Matt Moncallion. 4th, Mike Sampson. 5th, Mike Steele. 6th, Elliott Rose. 7th, Casey Rodriguez. And rounding out your top 8, Ryan Reese.
So we got to say, we got some solid scores here. We got, we're going to be doing 9th, 10th, 11th. Let's see here. We're going to give you the top 16 in total. We got Theon Nelson in 9th place, Alan Boss in 10th, Jacob Schuster in 11th, Brian Bubash in 12th, Ricky Gaston in 13th, Tony Schmidt in 14th, Ian in 15th, and Aaron Farrell is going to be our 16th with a score of 53. So that is our top 16.
Unfortunately, Andrew Wilder, Blake Doge, Jeff Clark, and Savannah Campbell unable to ring the bell here in qualifying, so will not be taking part in competition tomorrow. So we take a look at the bracket, see some interesting things here. Anderson versus Farrell, Reese versus Theon Nelson, Mike Sampson versus Ricky Gaston, Mike Steele versus Brian Bubash. And then on the right side of the bracket, Kevin Ferraro against Ian, Casey Rodriguez against Alan. So a Yeet Fleet battle that, both of those guys potentially are guys that could really win around or at least finish on the podium. So unfortunately, they're going to go head-to-head in the first round of battle tomorrow. Matt Moncalian versus Tony Schmidt. Elliott Rose versus Jake Schuster. So going to be an interesting shuffle here tomorrow. Things kind of played out, I think how we would imagine they would. So we're not really seeing, where somebody that typically finishes on our podium is a really low seed and going to have to battle their way through. So we'll see how that plays out tomorrow, as the track conditions are going to be greatly different. As I had mentioned, the live stream and battle will start tomorrow at 11 a.m. So don't forget to tune in. Set yourself an alarm for tomorrow morning so you don't sleep in too long. Big holiday weekend. If you're out partying tonight, don't miss out on the stream tomorrow, and make sure that you come back.
And, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, whether or not you were here or you were at home watching the live stream. We greatly appreciate all the support. If you're not here, come on down, Take a quick drive, come see all the cars, come meet all the people that, make this possible for us, put it all together. See lots of talent, lots of beautiful cars, beautiful people. It's a great time down here at Lake Erie Speedway. So, I guess that's really it. We're signing off. Everyone have a good night. Let's get back to it with the grassroots driving.